WNBA free agency is officially underway, Annie. So when you see these names and the options that the Sky have, what do you think that they're cooking up?
Yeah, it's interesting, right? Because Angel and Camilla are very interesting pieces. And when you're talking about, getting the right players in here, there is intrigue when you have young core pieces like that, because you could be part of developing them and developing towards a title contending season. But the reality is the Sky are still very far from.
Angel Reese appeared on her podcast with strong confidence, stating that she was creating a dominant team in Chicago. However, looking at the present situation, things have turned out very differently. Free agency has been active, yet Chicago's roster is still largely unfilled. The biggest free agents have evaluated their choices and ultimately decided to avoid signing with the Sky.
You don't get told no. Like, you're going to get the yeses. You're going to get more yeses than nos, and just being able to know that. So I'm excited for that. I know that's going to come soon.
Not a single all-star has chosen to join the Sky. Meanwhile, other teams have strengthened themselves by signing top-level talent, leaving Chicago struggling to find solutions. Free agency was expected to give Reese an opportunity to help assemble a championship-contending roster, especially after her recruiting efforts at Unrivaled. Instead, it has become a harsh reality check. This situation raises the question of whether players across the league are simply not interested in joining the project Reese is trying to build in Chicago. Let's take a closer look at how this free agency situation developed.
City is obsessed with you.
I know. I love it
all
here.
the time.
I feel like Baltimore here. I love it here. It does.
Kind of. A little DMV action.
Yeah.
But Chicago's a number 3 market in the country.
Really?
It's New York, LA, and then Chicago.
Yeah, Chicago, y'all have everything. I'm not gonna lie, y'all have everything here. Like, it's nothing here that I'm like, oh, I gotta go to a different city for it. Like, everything has been here. Which I love.
Angel Reese confidently said she was going to build a super team in Chicago. But now that free agency is underway, the Sky have ended up with a roster full of uncertainties instead of big-name additions. Imagine Reese going through her contacts, sending messages and making calls, but each time she checks her phone, there's nothing but unread messages and polite rejections coming back.
Angel Reese and Camilla Cardoso, too, have brought relevance to this team that they've desperately needed in a time when, again, if not for them, they'd be completely irrelevant because of the product that they're putting on the floor.
And also make Chicago an attractive spot when you have Angel Reese and Camilla Cardoso right there, two bigs that really shined in their rookie season.
Let's look at the names that were available. Kelsey Plum, Jewel Lloyd, Brittany Griner, Alyssa Thomas, Dawana Bonner, Natasha Howard, Sata Sabali, and Kelsey Mitchell. These are the kinds of players who can completely transform a franchise almost instantly. But how many of them seriously showed interest in Chicago?
None.
There was still a possibility that something behind the scenes could have changed the situation, or that Reese had a surprise plan nobody expected. However, with most of the major free agents now committed elsewhere, the conclusion is hard to avoid. Chicago simply wasn't a top destination for elite talent. Reese's ambitious recruiting vision didn't just fall short. It ended up being a complete failure.
So, lads, this is not great news, for the Chicago Sky, who are a team that obviously, they're rebuilding. This is a team that is 100% rebuilding. The problem is they don't own their pick. So, if the Chicago Sky run it back, they're probably not making the playoffs next year. Look, I think there's going to be an improvement from Angel Reese. I think it's going to be an improvement from Cardoso. But that team with no Kennedy Carter, it's going to be real tough to get any offensive.
So, where does this leave Angel Reese, the so-called superstar who is expected to attract elite talent to Chicago? She may end up leading a roster made up mainly of role players and young rookies instead. This is far from the dominant team she had envisioned, and it represents a difficult reality check. So what went wrong? Why did every top free agent look at Chicago and decide it wasn't worth joining? Let's break everything down.
So, not a good day for the Chicago Sky. Not a good day at all, because we have heard news from the journalist who reports on the WNBA, and because she is not a homer like a lot of the other people, like normally journalists are complete homers for one team. One of the actual credible journalists reported on something. Sky fans aren't happy. They all want her fired.
While Angel Reese was promoting Chicago as the next WNBA powerhouse, the league's top free agents were making decisions that left the Sky behind. Around the league, big-name signings created a wave of movement, with star players choosing destinations that offered what Chicago didn't: stability, strong leadership, and a real path to winning. In contrast, Chicago was left on the outside looking in. Let's break down where the biggest stars ultimately chose to land.
He had an incredible season for us last year, says the GM. She's extremely talented and is a player that can impact the game at the highest level in our league. We absolutely appreciate all she did for our team last year. However, we've made changes to our staff and we'll make changes to our roster. Those changes impact Kennedy's fit on the team, so we wanted to give her the best opportunity as a free.
First, let's talk about Kelsey Plum. You know her, the sharpshooting guard who played a key role in Las Vegas back-to-back championship runs. She's now set to join Los Angeles. With that move, the Sparks suddenly look like a much stronger contender. Why choose LA over Chicago? The answer is pretty straightforward. Stronger coaching, a more stable front office, and a franchise environment that feels far more organized. And if that wasn't a setback for Chicago, the situation with Jewel Lloyd makes it even tougher to ignore. Lloyd, who is originally from Chicago, had what seemed like a perfect chance to return home and play in front of her own city. If teaming up with Angel Reese was truly appealing, it should have been an easy decision. Instead, she chose not to join Chicago and committed to Las Vegas, where she'll pair up with Aya Wilson. In the end, she prioritized chasing championships over becoming part of Chicago's uncertain rebuild.
Is Angel Reese, did she just run a coach out of town, and is she running a player out of town? Their best shooter out of town? Because Kennedy Carter looks like she's ready to book it out of Chicago.
Then there's Brittany Griner, the dominant center known for her ability to control the paint and even throw down dunks. She's set to join Atlanta, making their roster even more threatening. At the same time, Alyssa Thomas, famous for her all-around game and triple-double production, is now headed to Phoenix. A clear pattern starts to emerge. These players didn't just pass on Chicago. They actively chose teams with stability, strong leadership, and a clear direction. They preferred environments where they could succeed and compete at the highest level, rather than stepping into uncertainty or internal issues.
Seattle Storm are sending Jewel Lloyd to the Las Vegas Aces in a blockbuster three-team trade that moves Kelsey Plum to the LA Sparks. That's according to ESPN. As part of the deal, Seattle receives the second pick in this year's WNBA draft from LA in exchange for the Storm's number 9 pick, while the Aces also receive the 13th pick, a second-round selection from the Sparks.
So, where does this leave Angel Reese, the player expected to attract top talent to Chicago? She may end up leading a young roster mostly made up of role players instead of stars. Despite her confidence, the Sky have not landed the big free agents needed to build a contender. Other teams like Atlanta, Phoenix, Las Vegas, and Indiana have strengthened themselves while Chicago has struggled to keep up. Many top players chose stability, strong leadership, and winning environments elsewhere. Now all the pressure is on Reese to prove she can still elevate the Sky on her own.